Israel's war cabinet still meeting and still mulling over how it's going to respond to Iran's weekend attack. The Israeli Minister of Defense promising retaliation, but not saying when and how. Iran saying any retaliation will be met with a severe, widespread and painful response. President Biden, along with other world leaders, well, they're continuing to urge against retaliation of any sort, saying that if Israel strikes back, it will do it alone. Josh Eniger is in Jerusalem for us. Also, our contributing political correspondent, Rachel Bade, joining the conversation. Josh, let's take it first to you. Israel's war cabinet has been meeting, what, for 3 days now? So are you hearing anything about Israel's priorities?
So I'll tell you what I have heard, Kira. Today we went down toward the south to an Israeli military base where there was a giant piece of a missile, basically the entire fuel tank of a ballistic missile that authorities found in the Dead Sea, one of the 110 ballistic missiles that were volleyed across from Iran on Saturday night. And they brought it there, and they brought a bunch of reporters together to see it. And I had a chance to speak to one of the lead spokespeople for the Israeli Defense Forces, and I asked him point blank, I said, why not just take the win? Why not say, listen, we have proven our superiority here, we fended off this attack, and we're going to heed the warnings from the world leaders? And the answer, he said, he likened that to kicking the can down the road. He said all it does is it pushes out another potential onslaught from Iran in the future. They think we're weak, and we have our civilians' safety to worry about. That was his response. So that's what's going on in this war cabinet room. They are evenly divided between people who want to very forcefully respond and people who want to respond somehow on the edges to show that they're still, going to defend their homeland and make a strike against Iran, and perhaps something that would be less antagonistic to then bring another round from Iran. But then again, Iran's supreme leader today said any Iranian interest that is targeted will lead to a similar response from that regime. So it's a very difficult situation here in Israel. They have a very, very difficult choice and really no right answer in terms of what they can do.
And Rachel, Congress is still under a lot of pressure here to act on the stalled aid for Israel and the war in Ukraine. You've been speaking with your sources within the GOP, also within Democratic leadership. What are they telling you?
Yeah, Kira, after months of delaying a vote on Ukraine and Israel assistance, Speaker Johnson is finally bringing these issues to the floor for a vote. And initially, we were hearing some squawking from Democrats. They wanted these two things to move together with other foreign assistance like they did in the Senate. Johnson also said he was going to tuck in some conservative provisions. And I'm told that President Biden called Speaker Johnson personally last night to express concern about this plan. And Johnson told him, quote, "This is the only way forward if you want to get your Ukraine aid." Since then, my Democratic sources told me late into the night and this morning, they're coming around to this plan. They think they could potentially swallow it. But the bigger problem, Kira, is actually on the GOP side in the House. There are a lot of Ukraine skeptics in Speaker Johnson's conference. They're saying they don't like this plan. And for the first time in a while, we actually see a second Republican coming out and saying he wants Speaker Johnson to resign. Now, our Rachel Scott caught up with the Speaker a few hours ago and listened to what he had to say.
I am not resigning, and it is, in my view, an absurd notion that someone would bring a vacate motion, and we are simply here trying to do our jobs. It is not helpful to the cause. It is not helpful to the country.
Now, a lot of people are going to be watching President Donald Trump and what he says about Speaker Johnson. Just a couple of days ago, Johnson was down at Mar-a-Lago, and the former president said, "I stand with the Speaker." He was pushing back behind the scenes on this effort to oust Johnson. Now, however, we have some reporting at ABC News that the former president is actually upset with some things Johnson said on television this weekend. So if he doesn't have cover from the former president, his job and his gavel could very much be in jeopardy, Kira.
All right, Josh, Rachel, thank you both so much.